Hey everyone, Effie here. Welcome to the introduction and layering tutorial for our Sunflower Fields layering stencils. Now this is one of the new sets in our June 2022 release. There are 6 stencils in this collection. When you layer all 6, this is what you get. Now what you can do is take your 6 stencils and ink blend them on 1/2 of an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock. Then you're gonna rotate that sheet, repeat the process on the other side, and then you get this beautiful result. And you can create many different cards with this sheet. I'll show you at the end of this video. So we do have a coordinating die available for our Sunflower Field stencils. It's a border die, and it's just going to die cut that top border of the Sunflower Fields image, and the die is available separately. Now this is stencil number 1. It is the first layer of the foliage, and there is a large one etched right on the stencil on the left side. This is stencil number 2, and it is the second foliage layer for our Sunflower Fields, and you can see the large 2 etched right on the stencil. And this is stencil 3. This is the first layer of the sunflower petals. For stencil number 4, this is the second layer of the sunflower petals. And then for stencil number 5, this is the last and third layer of the sunflower petals. And then the last layer, stencil number 6, is to ink blend the center of your sunflowers. Now let me show you how I blend these stencils. We're going to start off with an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock. I'm going to take stencil number 1 and just tape it to the bottom portion of my sheet of cardstock, and I'm just going to use a piece of scrap paper underneath my cardstock so that I don't ruin my cutting mat underneath. We're going to start off with our Meadow dye ink and our wide flat stencil brush. These are great for stencils that are larger in size, and they just make the ink blending process go by much faster because the surface of the brush is wide and flat and not curved like those standard size brushes, which I do like to use for smaller stencils, but for my larger stencils I do like to use these larger brushes. So once I've gone ahead and blended the first layer of our sunflower fields, I'm going to carefully peel that stencil away and put stencil 2 in its place. It's very, very easy to align. Once I have that taped onto my cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and ink blend the second layer of our foliage with our deep emerald dye ink. All of our new release stencils are available to ship immediately, and we also have a nice one-click bundle for you guys. We also have all of the brushes that we use in this video for purchase on our shop site, and I will link everything in the description box below. Once we're done ink blending the foliage, we're going to go ahead and position stencil number 3, which is the first layer of the sunflower petals. This is very, very easy to align. You can see it kind of fits right in place. And I've taped all my stencil down with Thermoweb purple tape. Once I taped stencil 3 down, there's a little portion of the sunflower on the left side that's close to the edge. So to make sure I don't ink blend above that stencil edge, I'm just going to put another piece of scrap cardstock. I'm going to tape that on the top of my stencil because I want to use that other side to do some more stenciling later on. Now this is just me trying to conserve my cardstock. If you guys don't care, you can just go ahead and continue your blending without masking off the top edge of the stencil. So I am just going to use our vanilla frosted cupcake dye ink for the first layer of our sunflower petals. Then I'll position stencil number 4, which is the second layer of the sunflower petals, and I will use our Beach Blondie dye ink for this layer. And then for the third layer of the sunflower petals, I'll use our Amber Citrine dye ink. Now, all 3 of these inks are in the Citrine layering collection. You can purchase the inks individually, or you can purchase them in a bundle of 3. Our Citrine layering inks are a beautiful yellow layering collection. Now for this video here, you can see that there is a little bit of orange ink left on the stencil from my previous ink blending. So this layer gets a little bit more orange, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. I think it still came out really, really nice. So once I'm done blending all of the petals, I'm going to go ahead and position stencil number 6 onto my cardstock. And stencil 6, as I mentioned before, is for the sunflower centers. I'm going to tape this onto my cardstock with some Thermoweb purple tape, and then I'm going to blend the centers first with our found Topaz dye ink, and then I'm going to go in and blend the outer edges of the centers with our dark roast dye ink to add a little bit of dimension to the sunflower centers. I used our little mini brush for the smaller centers, and then I used our standard brush for the mid-size centers. Next, I'm going to take the coordinating die, which is available separately, and I'm going to just die cut the top border of our sunflower fields. Since this is not going to go through my die cutting machine, I did have to trim off half of the cardstock, and that border edge just looks so awesome. So I'm going to slice this in half, and then I'm going to take an A2 panel and blend some Cali blue and azurite dye ink on the top. And then I'm going to take some Thermoweb's Ultrabond liquid adhesive and glue my half sunflower fields die cut right onto my A2 panel. I'm going to trim off any excess and then just pop up a sentiment right onto the card. Now this is a sentiment from our Always Cherry Blossom stamp set. We just re-released the dies, and I included dies for the sentiments in the re-release. So I'm very excited about those. I added some of our gold rainbow rhinestones in a visual triangle around the sentiment, and then stamped some flying bird silhouettes above our sunflower fields, and those little bird stamps are from our Ocean Free stamp set. Now here is the second card that I created with the other half, and that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's introduction and layering tutorial. If you haven't done so already, head over to our blog to check out the rest of our June 2022 stencil release and for more inspiration using our new products. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.